there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
This is Q from Stillwell, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour. Let's rock.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father, and as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a huge privilege to welcome back Q. He is the vocalist of Stillwell. Stillwell has released their new album, their new third album, Supernatural Miracle, today. This is the follow-up to 2015's Raise It Up album. Also, check out their quarantine video, Gasoline. And this interview is coming to you today on September the 18th. And this day has some significance in this as well, because today marks 50 years. 50 years ago today, the mighty Black Sabbath released Paranoid. That's awesome. But
wow. That is awesome.
Yeah. And in tragedy, though, today is the day that we lost one of the greatest guitarists and musicians, I think, that we were ever graced with on this planet, Mr. Jimi Hendrix. So,
wow. Unfortunately,
we lost him on this date as well. So kudos to Black Sabbath and what they've done. And it sucks that we did lose Jimmy at a, we shouldn't have lost him. We shouldn't have lost him, as I should say. But anyway, Q, man, welcome to the show, and how you doing?
I'm in a place of just feeling surreal. This new album has been a massive crossroads for me, because on this one, I'm the one that stepped up with the guitar this time, and Fieldy went back to his bass office for this one, and we turned into a trio with Love, and to be able to handle both vocals and guitar is very different from me. So the whole journey that today is very surreal for me. Us turning into a trio, and just the whole ride for this album has been very surreal. It's one of the reasons why we called it Supernatural Miracle, was just the way everything just fell into place to get this one done. Is just, and we're looking at 16 years of Stillwell being in existence. So the whole thing is just very surreal.
Oh, 16 years, man. Third album and a lot more to go. That's for sure. You better. That's for sure.
Yes. Thank you.
What have you been up to during this pandemic, man, being closed up and everything? What's been going on other than working on this new full length, man? Is there anything that kind of sticks out that you've been doing that nobody would think that you would have?
I found myself staying in a place of creativity. I think that for me, and it was something that I was saying a lot on live feeds, I just feel like we as a people have to kind of like step back from the negative energy and all of the arguing and all of the, heavy-handed opinions, and just have to go to a place where we could just draw from the well of creativity, no matter what it is that you do. It doesn't have to be music. It could be writing. It could be good journalism. It could be, playing the piano. It could be painting. It could be writing a movie script. It could be so many different places you could draw from, and I just feel like people have to step back and stop watching this whatever situation that we've gotten ourselves into, and just find a place of joy and spreading love. That's the kick that I've been on, and I've been trying to do my best to share that with the people that follow.
So 16 years of Stillwell, third album. How's it feel having 3 full-length albums in the Stillwell library, knowing each album has had its own identity, and you know that just as well as I do? Each album from you guys have been totally different.
Yes. Fieldy and Love would both say that right now we are in the place that we belong musically. And what they mean is that the first one definitely was more of demo and stabbing around in the dark to figure things out. And then the second one, it feels like there's a lot of different influences and a lot of different angles going on, and it almost comes across like there's more than one band writing at times. And with this one, with me stepping up with the guitar and writing the bulk of it, what it did was it enabled me to write exactly how I felt I should sing, or in the correct pocket, and what kind of chords I wanted to sing to, and then sitting there with Fieldy and orchestrating the riffs. And so it's in a more cohesive, Stillwell now is in a more cohesive place. So it feels great that we stuck with it. You know what I mean? Instead of just letting it just, go after one and just saying, oh, well, that was fun, next. So it feels great to be able to stick with it and to keep on moving.
So pretty much you've seen this baby grow, and now it's to an adult level, as I should say. Now this is where you guys are peaking.
Yeah. Yes. That's what it feels like. Like now we finally found our stride, and now we could, start from this pocket and just evolve in a place where at least the roots have now taken, and we could evolve not in a way where it looks like we're just putting a bunch of things in a blender, but more like we have a sound and we could grow from there.
Were you guys a little nervous at all releasing this album in this crazy pandemic?
Yeah, but we have to kind of like sidestep that kind of stuff and just move forward. That's how I felt. I know Wub was definitely a little reluctant because, we don't know what to make of what we're seeing right now. So, but at the end of the day, we were like, look, man, we got to live, we got to push forward, and whatever life is going to evolve into, we're going to be a part of it. Whether there's touring, no touring, maybe there's a new way of performing live, whatever it is, we just felt that releasing an album that gives you a good feeling, a good vibe album, is good medicine for some people. And that's what we made sure of. So,
well, what about you guys taking the streaming side of this, since there's no touring right now? And then I know that there's some bars opening up a little bit, some venues. But what about doing the streaming side of this to get this out now? That's
me and Fieldy. What we've been doing is, it's funny that you say that. We've been leaning more towards doing live feeds and kind of like taking a page out of the Foo Fighters book, and what I mean by that is we're having a lot of fun in a more comedic, lighthearted way. And there's a reason why we're doing it. It's not like we're just being silly just to be silly. It's, again, it always goes back to, we want people to have a sense of when they see us, they can have fun. They can let go of the drama and the craziness in the world, and they could turn to a band like us and have some fun and put a smile on your face and laugh. So we've been doing live feeds, and we've been thinking about, adding more to our YouTube channel instead of just music videos, but doing sketches and things that are based obviously on music, but just, like I said, taking a page out of the Foo Fighters book where you can look at the band and say, man, I'm going to have some fun right now because these guys bring a smile to my face. So we've been doing a lot of live feeds on Instagram. Exactly. And I'm glad that you're in that place, you and Fieldy and Wov right now, because we can't control this at the end of the day. You just got to make the best of it and hope that everybody around you can feel the vibes that you're giving. And the more positive, the better, because I'm so sick of this negativity. And there's a lot of negativity out there. And I just wish that there was more peace. There was more getting along. You know what I'm saying? I just wish there was just more positive in the world. Yeah, it's a little too divided right now, and that's why we're in the middle. Like, hey, man, we got to be responsible enough to make people have some fun, man. That's what we got to do. You had more opportunities to add your flavor with guitar and to write these songs on the new album. Did you feel like there was a big burden lifting off you to actually, to add your style to this? Did you feel more the restraints lifted, possibly, if that makes sense? I felt more free because even though working with Fieldy is, for me, we have a great chemistry, and we definitely with the first two albums we wrote some really cool songs. You could definitely find some really cool songs that he and I put together. But now I wasn't trying to fit my syllables and words into his riff. It was more now I could just sing freely and then decorate the cake after I get all my thoughts and melodies out. And also what it allowed me to do was to bring my influences and my inspiration to the table. Because, when you look at the three of us, we all respect each other's tastes, but we all definitely got a different background as far as where our influences come from. So mine come from the grunge and alternative era, from bands like Soundgarden all the way down to Jane's Addiction to Oasis. So I'm drawing from that well. That's the music I grew up on. Of course, you could go to the Big Four and all of that, but I draw from that well. Stone Temple Pilots, bands like that have molded my ear and the way I think. So that's what felt good about getting my turn at this, to bring my inspiration.
What's impressed or excited you the most about making the new album, Supernatural Miracle, if anything? Is there anything for you personally that sticks out the most?
What's beautiful is to be like we were just talking about, you asked if I was playing guitar, was it a burden? Did I feel pressure? And what impressed me the most was that the two seasoned veterans in the room, Wav and Fieldy, were so encouraging as far as me picking up the guitar and writing me songs and pushing me to boundaries that I didn't even know if I could do it or not. And then the brothers in Korn itself being so positive, with a lot of positive reinforcement and, just constantly encouraging me. And so when you have that kind of support system, aside from family and certain friends, my bandmate, Mike DeJean from King's Bounty, the other band that I'm in, when you have this massive support system, that is what really had, really stood with me through the whole writing process. It was like, man, everybody around me is being so cool about this, man, and so it had a nice flow to the journey of this album.
Any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on the album? I know it must change every time you listen to it, and I know these are your babies, but do you have any tracks for you, Q, personally, that stick out for you maybe?
I think the obvious one, it would be Come to Jesus Moment, and I'll give you a quick story about that, and because I didn't want to write that song. We had started writing it at one place, and I had all the verses organized, and I knew somewhat the direction I wanted to take. And it was Fieldy who, when we got to his studio, was like, dude, we have to write this song about Jesus. And I'm looking at him like, man, I don't want to do that. I don't want that responsibility. I don't want that burden, because I respect everybody's walk, and I don't take those kind of things lightly. And I don't think that I am the perfect candidate to write a song like that. I'm not doing things for shock value. So I want to respect those things that I don't have a full understanding of. And then as we're sitting there in the studio, the words just came out like nothing. It just formed, and I can't explain it. It just was like a super spiritual moment where everything just fell into place, and the song was done within maybe 30 minutes, an hour. And it just doesn't make sense to me, but that's how that song in particular, that's why that song is so special to me. And then the other song that I tend to lean towards, that I haven't, I'm waiting to see how people go about listening, is All Right, All Right, which is in the chorus. I say, I'd be lying if I said I was all right, because that's also based on a conversation where, we were having a conversation where we were talking about, you could say, hey, how's everything going? And people usually say, great, great, great. And you'll never hear anybody say, like, hey, how's it going? And they'll be like, you know what? It's going terrible. This, that, and the third. And that's why I came up with, I'd be lying if I said I was all right, So just based on conversational, you know how people are. They go to their cliche answers. So those two songs, but obviously, like you said, all of the songs are my babies, man.
Lightning in a bottle for those two songs. There you go, folks.
Right.
So were there any songs, man, that took a major turn that you thought would end up sounding the way that you wanted to when you came in to the recording of it?
You know, with working with Chris Collier, who co-produced this album, all of the songs definitely turned out bigger than what I had initially thought. And I should have expected that because he works with KXM. He did the Raise It Up album for us. He produced for me for King's Bounty. He's done Prong. He's done so many things that I already know that he's really good at what he does. And as far as songs that in the ending turned out way different than it's like Come to Jesus. That definitely, I didn't even believe that song was going to happen. The other one, which is a strange one, where it's the best day ever because it's more of a sarcastic twist to people going through their personal hells, but still looking at the world and saying, I'm having the best day of my life. You know? Yeah. So certain songs, you don't know what direction you're going to take. And then by the time you're done, you're like, well, we had fun with that and it's hilarious, you know? So yeah.
Were there any tracks that didn't make this album that we may see down the road on another EP?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There was one that it was supposed to be 12 songs. And there was one when we got to the end of the sessions that we did something weird with a drum machine, and Wub came and he played on the chorus, and I didn't really dig the way it ended up in the final result, and it just didn't fit schedule-wise as far as going back to the studio, trying to figure things out. So, and I'll save that for the next release and see what it becomes. So there's definitely one. And what's interesting about this album and me picking up the guitar and working as much as I did is that the next release after this one won't take as long because I didn't stop writing when we were done. I kept on going. I kept on just, getting the new songs into demo form and just having them ready on the Pro Tools. So, and I told Fieldy, I was like, we should follow up sooner rather than later with the next one instead of waiting 5 years, 6 years. Let's give it a year and come with another one and let's do it all again. And he understood it. The way of the world right now, the attention spans have shrunk. So you gotta kind of like, you gotta get to the point quickly these days.
Yeah. And that blows my mind because back in the day, you had to wait for another band to put out, a full-length album. You had to go to the gas station or grocery store to find a hit parader to find out what your band's doing because it's not as easy to find out information today as it was back in the day.
No, and now like bands have to be on social media constantly so that they're not forgotten in this massive ocean of music and opinions, and everything that's going on in social media is so distracting that you got to kind of like, I remember I think it was it 2017 or 2018, Mastodon put out Emperor of Sand, which I love Mastodon and I love that album. And then they ended the year by putting out an EP. And I was like, wow, man, that's incredible. Like they started the year with their album. They won the Grammy for it. And then they ended the year by releasing an EP. And I was like, see, that's what I mean. Like the workload for musicians has increased because people their attention spans are shrinking and we got to service them more. And in my opinion,
Supernatural Miracle, that this is a crossroad for all of you. When someone puts that album in, they start to listen to it. Is this like the defining statement from you guys? Is this what you want people to hear to say, like, now this is Stillwell. This is the sound we want to hear from here on out?
Yes. This what you're hearing is Stillwell. Those first two albums are good for what they are, but we were finding ourselves. We're trying to figure out what roles do we play in our individual responsible places, and now we finally fell into the right place and the right sound, and I think we have a sound that is starting to set us apart. Sure, you can hear influences. Like I said, I took from the well of alternative rock because that's what I grew up listening to. Those were the bands that I worked. So you'll probably get a taste of that maybe, but this is definitely our signature. Finally, we've come to that place where we're like, okay, this is it. This is what we need to grow from.
What do you hope everyone takes away, or message you hope they hear while listening to just any of Stillwell's music in general? What do you hope they get from it, Q? I
want them to feel good. We were doing a live feed the other day, and we were talking about there's plenty, and it's not to downplay. Look, man, I love music, and I live by a code. I don't disrespect other bands. Even if I don't like what I'm hearing, I don't publicly do that. That's not my thing. I think all musicians, all artists have to live by a code so that we could, settle down on all the hating and the real sucky opinions online. So, but that being said, I feel like there's enough music out there to make you feel a certain way, and I think what we're doing here is to shed some light. I'll keep on repeating it, have some fun, or turn on an album and feel good and bounce and bounce in your car or put it in your buds and just go on your walk or your bike ride and feel good, not dragged in through the sullen forest of darkness. Sure, there's some good music that comes out of that, but this time around we wanted to lean on the other side of the scale and make people, even if I was doing a heavy subject, like I'd be lying if I said I was all right and talking about, I'm going through my challenges. Even if you listen to a lot of these songs, the lyrics are not all happy. They talk about challenges, but we twist it up in a way where you could still have fun while you're going through your challenges, because we're all going to go through challenges. Mm-hmm. Let's do it with a smile sometimes,
Yeah, take one day at a time.
What it is.
Yeah, take one day at a time. That's all you can do.
Yes.
Are you guys wanting to take this out on the road, or what's up down the road with this, man?
We never had that kind of pressure. We kind of looked at it like if opportunity presented itself and there was the right opportunity, then sure. Like when we did the Dirtbag album, the opportunity was there, and we went out. It was an incredible experience. We opened up for Korn and Disturbed and Seven Dust and In This Moment, and it was an amazing experience. And then we went out to Europe with Korn, and we had a blast, but it wasn't forced. And then when the second album came out, it just schedules didn't sync, and everybody was busy doing their thing, but we still put out a very cool album. And now this time around, it's like, I think that whatever opportunities present itself, now we're of the mindset that even if I had to go out and maybe Fieldy can't make it, or maybe Wub can't make it, at least there's enough there where we could still go out and push what it is to put, depending on what the crowd is feeling. So you always got to go with what the crowd is feeling as well. So, but it'll never be forced. We're not panicking to get out on the road for this.
I want to step back here for just one moment. I want to ask this question about your growth working with Fieldy and plus Wub on this. How much growth musically, writing and everything, have you seen yourself grow? How much confidence have they gave you to just finally just say, hey, look, I can do this, and see it come out great? A massive amount.
And what's crazy is that when you talk about those two guys, if you know their history, they're hard, they're rough around the edges kind of guys, and they have the reputation to be that way, cut and dry. So if it would have sucked, they would have said, hey, this sucks. No way, So for them to listen to something that I put together and to have, seasoned veterans that have done it all turn to me. I'm a underground guy, I'm a guy that does small venues and has toured in a van and things like that. So for them to turn to me and give me that kind of level of confidence and encouragement, it means the world to me. It definitely sets me up for whatever future I'm going to have with a guitar in my hand and way more confident that I'm in the right place and on the right path. So yeah, you hit the nail right on the head with that question. It's a big badge of honor.
Is there a country that stands out or shocks you that Stillwell gets support from, or Stillwell's music gets played in possibly? Is there any location, man, that kind of shocks you maybe?
No, I'm still more humbled by just anyone at this point. Sometimes I avoid a lot of the comments because I'm a little too sensitive for that. And then, but when I do peek in and I see who's saying what, it's really cool to me, whether it's somebody that lives in Texas or somebody that lives in France or Brazil or Argentina, because I've seen all of these countries chime in and say something really cool or repost it on their page, and it's, again, I go back to the beginning, it's surreal, because I didn't know that it was going to last this long, and there was no way, if you would have said, Q, and at 16 years after you make the first song with Fieldy, you're going to be playing a guitar, singing, and you're going to put together a really good album. A lot of this stuff is very surreal and very brand new for me. So just having people all over the map, people from Japan and all the other countries I mentioned, it's really cool, man. I'm humbled by all of it, man. This is surreal, man. This is really even to be talking to you and awesome questions you shoot. All of this is it's not new, obviously, with my other groups like King's Bounty and the Arsonists. It's sure, but
right.
You're right now. You're talking to me at a major crossroad in my life. So it's surreal. We're sharing a surreal moment in my life. So yeah.
I mean, you've been doing it for 16 years, and I've had you on the show before. I like what you do, and I support what you do. Just because Fieldy and Wove's in this band, that doesn't mean nothing to me. What it means to me is that you guys are doing what you love, and I'm supporting you guys because I like what you guys do for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. I'm humbled by that. Thank you.
I know you had a lot of music growing up. I know you did. A lot of albums. But did you have a go-to album or just a song maybe when you were younger that affected you as far as giving you inspiration, or it just allowed you to escape for a while, man, just to make you think things would be better and can get better? If so, possibly what was it maybe?
The two albums that definitely had that effect on me where it would send me to a place of imagination were the first two Stone Temple Pilots albums, Core and Purple. It just, they came at a time. Obviously, the first album is very raw and heavy, but when they got to that second album, they kind of like took the rule book and threw it out the window, and they had me hooked. Like those two albums, and I was fortunate enough to see Stone Temple Pilots when they were still intact, and Scott was part of the band, and so to be that kind of a fan and get to see your heroes on stage, and the whole experience of it, and it was just, that Stone Temple Pilots' first two albums definitely mean a great deal. Like I think it's so heavy for me that I think I can sing every single word verbatim. I know all the lyrics perfectly. Pretending to be Scott Weiland, just heavy influence. And obviously Soundgarden and Alice in Chains. Yeah, another surreal moment in my life was being on tour with Korn last year, and here I am backstage, and they're on tour with Alice in Chains, and here comes Jerry Cantrell with an acoustic guitar, and he starts playing right in front of me, and then he and I start singing together, and we're singing an Alice in Chains song called Voices on their Devil Put Dinosaurs Here album. And it was, again, here I am with a superhero, somebody I consider a superhero, somebody who I listened to since I was a kid, and here I am singing with him, and it was trippy. Trippy. That whole era of alternative rock means a great deal to that. It was like when you say a place where you went and it was all right, that was the blanket of comfort for me, from Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots, all of those bands that was my zone, my comfort place. Screaming Trees, all of those bands. Very important.
Okay, so I want to throw this question out here to you guys, since you're a huge Alice in Chains fan. I am too. I'm also a huge Alice in Chains fan. What's your opinions on, I know we lost Lane, unfortunately, but what's your opinion on William DuVall coming in and not taking over, but just carrying on what Lane and Alice in Chains started? To me, I don't think they could have found anybody better to not to fill the shoes, but just to carry on that torch. What's your thoughts? I
agree with you 100%. And I got to watch them for a whole summer, do it every night, and they were flawless. Of course you miss Lane. Of course you miss Mike Starr. Of course you miss that. But they were flawless. Like, didn't miss a step. And the sound and everything was just, man, what a band, what a sound, William, he fits perfectly. You're right. They can't, there's no other way. And I'm kind of happy that they didn't go for like the mega, like, let's go get some mega star and try to see if the piece fits. But not to say that William isn't, but sometimes people want to reach and try to see if they can attract you with some name brand. And William, to me, he's perfect.
And the cool thing about that is Jerry had worked with William a long time ago on tour with him. He did other things with William. So that's a cool fit, man. I mean, you could just close your eyes and you could still hear Lane singing.
Yeah. It's got a great tone. Obviously it has a lot of similarities. He's a really cool guy, man. Really quiet backstage, and I remember I would watch him every day go back and forth catering and stuff, and I wanted to break the silence. And at the time he was dropping his solo album, and I was like, "Hey, man, I love what I hear so far." He's like, "Oh man, thank you." Because sometimes you just want to break the flow that they're in, just to give them props somehow, some way. So.
Folks, you want to get out and pick up Stillwell's third full-length album, Supernatural Miracle. You want to get out and give this band a chance. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. And I'm not just saying it because Q's on here. Trust me, I'm not. He's a really, really good guy. This band is really good. They have some great, great music. Trust me. Q, how can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy some merchandise, tour dates when all this gets back together, and this new album? How can you do that, good sir?
It's real simple. Just go to stillwellrock.com, STILLWELLROCK.com, and go on the website, and it's got all the tabs for all of our socials and where to get merch and everything. So it's one-stop shopping right there, stillwellrock.com.
And before I let you go, would you care to do another promo for my show?
Oh, of course, man. This is Q from Stillwell, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour. Let's rock.
Everybody stick around. We got some great, great stuff coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. And BODS Mayhem Hour podcast, please check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link, YouTube link, and please subscribe to our YouTube link and all the links that we have out there, because we're just about on every social platform. And please get out and check out Stillwell. Pick up their third album, Supernatural Miracle. Again, you will not be disappointed. Give these guys a shot. And just don't think about the other bands that they're associated with. Give Stillwell a chance and listen to them. Q, man, always, thank you for being on here. Super proud of you, and keep rocking out.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, brother.
to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.